What is going on, everybody? We're back with some more Marvel Snap, and today I wanted to show you guys, there's a version of this deck that's pretty popular on the ladder, so you've probably seen something like it before, but I wanted to show you what I had been running. I'm not trying to sound like a hipster, but I've been running something like this before it got super widespread. I still think my version is probably worse than the more popular versions, but there's some fun stuff you could do here. The main purpose of this deck is to use the new seasonal card Wave, which next turn, cards in both players' hands cost 4, which allows you to play your 6 drops potentially 2 turns earlier than normal. What you can also do is combo Wave with something like Odin. Odin will re-trigger Wave and let you lock everything to 4 cost the turn after that as well. The benefit of something like that is kind of twofold. First, like I said, you get to play your big boys way earlier than expected. You could play Professor X a turn earlier to potentially lock down a location your opponent hasn't played with. But it also lets you do pretty fun combos. One of the more powerful ones this deck is capable of is going Wave on turn 3, into Giganto on turn 4, into Taskmaster on turn 5, which copies the power of the last card you played, which means Giganto would be in the left location with 14 power, and then Taskmaster would put another 14 power into another location. So that's pretty powerful. Another pretty powerful card or combination, and this kind of just fits into a lot of decks. You don't have to be running this kind of mana cheating type of deck, is Jubilee into America Chavez. The way America Chavez works is if she were to have been your next draw and it's not turn 6, she stays on the top of your deck. Which means by the time you play Jubilee, whether it's on turn 4 or 5, it's actually higher than average that America Chavez will be the top card in your deck, which makes Jubilee a 4 power or 4 energy, 11 power play, which is obviously very strong. So you got very big power plays. You have Wave to potentially deny Nova decks comboing off on you. And then other than that, you're just playing really big cards. I've also got Sunspot in here just because sometimes if you don't draw your Wave early or your Storm early, you can have a handful of dead turns, and while a lot of the time that means you just lose, Sunspot at least allows you to continue competing a little bit. And then Storm is in here just because this deck usually doesn't play enough cards to really fight for multiple locations. So what I like to do is play Storm on a location that either I can't really play into very well, for example, a location where you can't play 4, 5, and 6 cost cards, or just play Storm into a location. Your opponent will often then commit pretty strong resources to the location that you flooded to try and, win that from you. While after that, you can just kind of go in another direction and commit your resources elsewhere. You're just really trying to get them to spend resources on a location you might not be fighting for. And if they don't fight for it, you can win a location with just Storm sometimes. So without further ado, let's hop on into some games. I did rank down quite a bit. I was, I think, not quite 80, but pushing close to 80 with my collector deck. Let's swap to our game view. But I just got so bored of playing Nova decks that I started playing progressively worse and worse decks. And here we are. So let's go ahead and just drop out Sunspot. This is the kind of curve that I was talking about when I was talking about Sunspot. Just sometimes, just pretty often actually, you get some pretty awkward curves. Although here with Superflow, we can try and shut this location down early. And our opponent's just going to concede because they had played Angel into the Superflow location. So let's go ahead and get another game. Not that I'm going to complain about a quick cube, but really didn't get to show off anything the deck wants to do. But we'll get another game. This is the main thing I wanted to rank up for, was this Sunspot portrait. Monster Island, that's the current featured location. I don't love it, to be honest. It adds a 9 power monster for each player, which I guess is okay, but I don't know. All it really does is reward the player who plays Shang-Chi more, which I love Shang-Chi, so I'm not really against it. I don't hate the location, it's just not the most interesting one to me personally. They're gonna play Iceman. Our only play really is to just go for Sunspot. We dodge the rocket. Okay. 1, 2, and 3 cost can't be played here. That's just fine for me. Unfortunately, his Iceman hit my wave, which throws off everything. That's really bad for us, actually. We know this is more than likely going to be a Khazar deck, from the looks of it. So how do I want to contest this? I assume Khazar is coming down this turn. My options are, let's Jubilee on the right, maybe hit Chavez. No, we hit Hobgoblin, which honestly is still pretty good. Now, we could Professor X this turn. I just don't think I get anything out of it. So our other option is to pass this turn, get 5 power onto Sunspot, and just drop the Infinaut in the left lane. They have 13 power to make up here, which is not outside the realm of possibility. But I think I'm going to go for that play. And then turn 6, I think the best play is just Infinaut right here. If they go for Khazar here, this goes to 20, we'd be tied if I play it there. If they play Chavez here, they go to 22, we would pass that. I'm trying to think of what other plays they potentially could have here. I think those are the two most common option is either they just slap Khazar onto Monster Island or they slap Chavez here. If they play Iron Man here, they have 24 power. We would have 29. If they play Shang-Chi, they would have 15 power here. They would reveal first, so we'd have 20. Screw it. Find out what happens. Do have Chavez. Oh, they have the discard on Dracula they were able to target. That was nice, yeah. I had a feeling they had to be able to target something big with Dracula to really be that confident. But I just didn't think that this kind of deck would be able to consistently get down to just Infinaut in their deck, or in their hand. But that was pretty cool. Raptor locations isn't great for us. But yeah, that Dracula play, it's one of those things where you know they probably want something big in their hand, but I would assume most of the time they have to settle for Chavez, just because knowing that you're going to draw Infinaut, I don't feel like it's consistent enough. But maybe I'm wrong. That was the first time I've played against something like that. I've only really, like, theory crafted things like that going down. So missing the first 3 turns of this deck is not ideal. You almost always should have either Wave or Sunspot or something like that. So missing that isn't the best. think we still Jubilee here. But it's going to be tough to win this one, missing the first 3 turns. That's basically an auto concede. Let's see what we can do, though. Let me see if I can lock down this left lane. Oh, no, yeah, that works. Now the question is, can they empty their hand this turn to buff Strong Guy? Because if not, then Magneto in the middle is the play, which would get us to 23 exactly. They've played nothing but cheap cards so far. And the 0 is from Agent 13, so it's not like they have a whiff from Agent 13. Huh. Our alternative would be to play Magneto on the right and see if the 3 or 4 cards that they want to play here is stronger than Magneto. I think Magneto middle is the better play, but I assume they have a discard here. Oh, but you can't get Apocalypse out of hand. Not with discard, anyway. Oh, so we actually won this no matter which location we played in. They were just a straight discard deck, which is pretty cool. I've had a lot of fun playing discard. But yeah, trying to empty your hand fully is not easy if you run Apocalypse. Let's get one more game in. The first game is pretty short, so let's get another one. Let's see if we queue into this one. Here we go. I was going to say a not so great opening hand, but drawing Wave there just kind of solves a lot of our problems. So we're set up for a Wave into Giganto play. We also potentially could Wave into Professor X on a lane. We'll see how we're feeling. And what kind of deck that they reveal to us that they want to be. Would you guys believe that out of the hundreds of games I've probably played total with like Jubilee and Infinaut in the same deck, I don't think I have ever once hit Jubilee into Infinaut. Or if I have, it's probably like a count on one hand scenario kind of thing. I don't think I can really fight for this area. So let's do that. And because they have armor here, our Giganto is safe. So we can go Giganto into Taskmaster. I forgot to swap out my Taskmaster for my new variant. Got a pretty cool variant of Taskmaster. Taskmaster. Alright, Iron Man's gonna make this one tricky. Now, truthfully, I would love to Hobgoblin over here. I just don't think that's going to be possible. Now, if they play like Chavez here, for example, him out of it. Oh, wave. If they go Chavez here, they go up to another 20, so they go to 48. So we'd have to basically commit everything into this lane to really even contest it. But they can't play Chavez yet. Alright, that's pretty sweet. Now, if they go for, like, Nova, it would add... what do they got here? That's 12 for... Sorry about that. So we know Chavez isn't on top of the deck. So playing Jubilee here doesn't seem prudent. Because we have Sunspot and Storm as our two of our final three, so it's not a good idea. Taskmaster's turned off because we took the turn playing Hobgoblin. So our only play here looks to be Chavez in the middle. I have a hunch that's not strong enough. I have a feeling they have their own Chavez here. Their own Onslaught. Alright, that's pretty strong. Alright. Unfortunately, I feel like these games, although we had some decent games, these games did nowhere near really showing the potential power level of the deck, but I think they did a pretty good job showing the inconsistency of the deck. It's one of those decks where if you're hitting your draws and you're getting even the littlest amount of luck going your way, the power ceiling on the deck is pretty ridiculous. Now that I've kind of showcased this a bit, I'd be curious to look at what other people run in a deck like this, just to try and make the early game more consistent. I assume you could run something like Lockjaw if you have him. Where is he? Is he 3 cost? Yeah, you could run something like Lockjaw, and you play a card here, swap it with a card in your deck. That seems possible, just because the weakness is that when you whiff, then the deck becomes a lot worse. But I think this was just kind of, we hit the lower end of what we wanted to do, but we still had some pretty decent games in there. But maybe we'll bring this back again for another shot soon. But yeah, that's gonna be it for now, guys. Thank you guys all very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.